James, well, now you can see how much people love you.
You'll be missed so much and we'll always be thinking of you.
God in heaven, God above, please protect the friend I love. I'm gonna miss you loads.
Still ain't found your brace, James. I'll never forget that time at my pie.
You will always be remembered, not just by me, but by everyone who knew you. Rest in peace, James. In the assembly in the morning, I had tears in my eyes. I was trying to hold it in, and then when they went out, you couldn't stop crying. It's just so upsetting. And then it got a bit better, and people could let their emotions out on their memory board, and it made you feel a lot better, like.
Gets all your thoughts on paper, and it's easier than having them trapped inside you. Like, you might not want to say them out loud, like you just write them on paper and then you know that all your thoughts are out.
Both James and his father died in the crash. The family's ice cream business was well known locally.
This kid said, because you know he did the ice cream, he thought it was quite funny to say, oh, there'd be no more ice cream left. And he got suspended because he hit him.
Lost my temper really and snapped and just hit him. In some ways I know it was wrong, but personally I think James would have done the same for me. So
a death of your community, and in this case of your school community, can have a significant effect on others because of other things that have happened to them, because of previous bereavements, for example, or just the way that they handle death. And it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that knew that person very well who's affected. It might be, I mean, our students are bussed in quite often. Lots and lots of young people that took James's bus were very, very upset. They didn't really know him, but they kind of knew him and they knew where he sat on the bus, and they'd see him about the place, and they found that very, very hard. So I think for us, we had to remember that there were those kind of links between James and lots of people throughout the school, and you have to remember that those people might be affected as well.
What I would like you to do is quietly, for the first 5 minutes, is think about your 5 memories. What are your 5 memories of James? Think about what.
A week after James's funeral, Brendan McIntyre from a bereavement charity has come to talk to James's tutor group.
Those memories. What was he like? What was he into? Music? Yeah? The memory jar activities are really about giving young people the opportunity just to think about some of their memories of James and the person that's died. And I guess doing the activity in a group, it allows them to hear each other's memories. And also to have a laugh, permission to have a joke and remember some of the good stuff about him. What is it you remember about him? They rely on each other a great deal, and adults need to find ways of kind of engaging with them that's maybe less in their face, if you like, because I think sometimes teenagers have a view about adults already, and and I think that kind of role with teen teachers and pupils is a difficult one as well, and all of a sudden you're kind of taking a view where you may be asking them how they are about things, and you maybe not asked them about that before, or you're upset in front of a teacher, and that's a difficult one as well. So I think it's, these activities just help you find a different way of trying to engage and kind of connect with young people rather than just sit down and let's talk about it. Have you found that since James died that you've been thinking about your mum more? Has it reminded you of that? Yeah. So it's how one death reminds you of other deaths, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a new blazer.
How did your mum die?
Heart attack.
Completely unexpected. What do you remember of that? Anything? Nothing?
I don't think anyone's.
Do you remember being told?
No, they're not.
I don't even remember, I was only a baby. I don't actually remember speaking to my mum at all.
You've got hardly any memories. It's tough, isn't it? It's amazing, going around this room, how many of you have all kind of known about death before. And James's death is just another death that you've kind of come into contact with and experienced, There's a lad over there who was telling me about his dad had died as well. It's amazing, isn't it? When a pupil dies in a school, it affects everyone in the school, and letting the young people see that it affects the teachers as well, and so they can't start to recognise them as human beings as well, not just someone who stands in front of them and tells them stuff. And I think the opportunity of sitting around and that teacher sharing their memories, it just gives them permission to kind of see that there are times when it's appropriate for these boundaries to be a little bit blurred. And I think when death happens, that's an opportunity for these boundaries to be blurred. I'd like you to kind of just go around and show each of you all your memory jars and just share the memories that you've written down and you recorded for James.
We've got yellow for James's smile.
Black, always listening to his MP3 player and lending it to his mates.
Blue was he had 2 left feet and couldn't play football properly.
Yellow for ice cream, because James's family were in the ice cream business, and you'd see ice cream vans around with his surname written on.
Green was for all the notes he was spending. He's a big money spender.
Was it?
Yeah.
Purple because you used to like chasing the girls.
And the green colour is breaking the school rules.
Green, our miss not texting each other. Orange, he was really excited about going in a helicopter for the first time.
Green, he was my best mate and I will never forget that.
Red colour was because James liked fast cars.
Right. Kind of getting to know him. He's quite a character. Quite a character.
The school was better able to deal with James's death so effectively because in the previous term another pupil had died suddenly.
We'd had the death of Matthew Wyatt just before Christmas, so what, sort of 3 or 4 school weeks before. And again, that had been a great shock over a weekend, and that was coming in on a Monday morning and finding this out. So very similar, actually, in those ways.
Everyone was just quiet, and it was all just
really surreal, wasn't it? Wasn't
this didn't seem real. It seemed like a dream. Definitely.
We tried to get as many people as we could to wear black as a sign of respect for Matt. So we were ringing around on a Sunday night and telling people, so that on Monday people would know about it and be prepared for it. But it was just really surreal. We went to the common room and everyone was quiet and nobody spoke for an hour or so.
And they sat in total silence, total silence. Over 100 people sat in absolute silence in the sixth form centre. And the head of year came over and said, "I'm so worried, I don't know what to do, nobody's talking." They just sat, and people were literally just sat with their head in their hands. And it was totally silent. So we spent the morning going over, taking it in turns to go over, to just sit with each little group and just to try to get them to start talking. Because I think that it's just healthier to start talking, to start whatever you're doing, whether it's crying or shouting or talking, to just start that process. The sitting in silence was really very worrying. Whilst that was going on, I was going back to my office and I was phoning everybody that I could think of to telephone to try and get some support for students, because we were sort of experiencing this really for the first time. And I was certainly experiencing it for the first time. You know, I'd never come across this before. And so I telephoned people like Winston's Wish, who suggested that we have a memory board, which is where the original sort of memory board idea came from.
The memory board got the pupils talking. It became an important focus for Matt's grieving friends and stayed up into the following term.
Matthew died about 7 days before term ended, and ideally I think we should have taken the board down at that point because the Christmas holidays were a natural break. We didn't, and so students, particularly those that were being very close to Matt, got used to seeing it there. And then when it was taken down, they felt that was all a bit sudden and they didn't expect it to go, because it was just, I think it was taken down on a Tuesday or something like that. They came in on the Wednesday, expected things to be the same as the day before, and suddenly they weren't. And Matt's girlfriend Gemma found it very, very difficult indeed. I know that she found that particularly hard.
I was meant to be consulted because obviously I was his girlfriend, I was his closest companion. I wasn't consulted. My head of year our head of sixth form took it down. It really affected me, got really upset. I lost it a bit.
It was taken down exactly after a month, which we thought was a bit sort of, you know, inconsiderate. But they said that it was to sort of get us to move on. We talk about him in the good ways, like as though he's still here sometimes, sort of thing, which helps us. And it has got a lot easier, and especially at school, the teachers do help really, you know, a lot. And
it's something new, and it has changed me definitely. It's helped me respect my friends a lot more and not take things for granted, obviously. But it's never happened before.
We talk about Matt a lot. I feel it's changed. I don't know, they weren't bad people, but maybe it's made us all better, more, you know, take life, you know, as it comes. Don't take it for granted, really.
When a death has affected your life, you will never be the same. Doesn't mean to say you won't cope, it doesn't mean to say you won't move on, but you will be forever changed. And one of the things that you notice with children is that as they go through life, they will also encounter other losses, other changes, and they will need to find ways of sort of navigating through that. So, you know, maybe a child who's experienced the death of a parent aged 6, when they then move to secondary school, that may provide a tremendous challenge for them. But what kind of worries us sometimes is that whether that secondary school will have any way of knowing that they'd experienced the death, because maybe in year 6 dad has remarried, or you know, there's been a life change like that. So certainly transitions, new partners coming into the family, other losses can unstabilise things, and it's really important that bereavement isn't seen in a very set time period.
Susie's father died 3 years ago when she was in primary school. When she came to Cleve School, Susie's mother asked if the school could set up a buddy system and find another older pupil who'd also been bereaved.
Her dad died at a similar time to mine, so we were both in the same stage, and she had a brother as well, and so we talked about you know, how our family was getting on as well, and how they were doing, and sometimes we talked about our mums and like how they were getting on, because she was concerned for my mum as well. I couldn't talk to my brother about it, and a teacher I just felt was quite uncomfortable because they were loads older than me, and they were someone who taught me, and I wouldn't feel comfortable with that. But a pupil, they were like a friend, so that was a lot easier to talk to. I felt comfortable.
Back at Heron Primary School, they've added another feature to their bereavement strategy, a memory fountain. Any pupil in the school can decorate a pebble for someone who's died.
It could be a grandma that might have died, or it could be a pet, a favourite pet.
The 6 children who lost their parents over Christmas are the first ones to place their pebbles.
Matt, where do you want to put yours?
I'm going to put mine.
Certainly with the children, we will continue monitoring and supporting them. And I think we need to think of key times and making sure that they're well supported during those periods in their school career. It's really, as a school, to show that it's okay to talk about bereavement, and it's also to remember those people that we've loved and lost.
Communicating that school is a caring environment, but equally communicating that school is an environment where life goes on, can be tremendously reassuring to a child at a time when their family life is a bit like an earthquake, just shattered, and they're trying to put that together. What they need is real stability and caring from school.